Hey everyone, it's Blake, and we're back here for episode number 8 of our WWE 2021 save in TEW 2020. And before we jump into Raw, a couple of noteworthy items in NXT. As you can see here, NXT held TakeOver in Your House, and looks like a good show. Some found it overwhelming or underwhelming. However, the performance of the night belonged to Triple H, and we're going to get into that because that directly relates to Triple H has apparently boasted that he is the only true star in NXT and he is carrying the company single handedly. And apparently that has caused quite a stir in NXT. Now you're asking, well, why is Triple H doing all this? And how has he just sort of put himself all over NXT and been the star that he seems to consider himself? Well, another news item here, as Triple H has come out of retirement and is apparently running wild all over NXT. So this is quite a development, and now we have a little concern with what's going on in NXT because Triple H has apparently angered a lot of people within the brand. So that's interesting to at least look at, and I'm not sure what we're going to do with Triple H at this point, but he is certainly has no lack of power when it comes to NXT right now because he has considered himself the star and he is letting everyone know about it. It looks like TakeOver. I can't really. 63 overall. Looks like the main event. So Triple H wins in the main event of TakeOver. Him and Timothy Thatcher get the victory over Dexter Lumis and Roderick Strong. So that was the main event of NXT TakeOver in Your House. So I have no idea what the hell is going on in NXT right now. But there seems to be some chaos with Triple H coming out of retirement. He's apparently taken over the NXT programming. And people are not happy about it. So let's see where that leads. Maybe that'll be a little bit easier with our call-ups. Maybe there'll be some people that are really in a hurry to get out of NXT because I'm not sure what Triple H is turning it into. So maybe Triple H decided he's going to have one more run here. And perhaps before you know it, we're going to be talking about Triple H as the NXT champion, maybe. I'm not sure how it's going to look with that, but it does. There is at least some interesting developments here when it comes to Triple H and him coming out of retirement, and also apparently is now trying to do something with NXT. So that is noteworthy. We also have a couple other things to discuss NXT wise, and let's jump into it. Usually, as I say, I don't spoil some of the stuff I do on the actual main roster shows with Raw, SmackDown, and such. But we will give a little bit of a spoiler on a couple of things we've done with NXT, which does not relate to Triple H, who is taken over in every single way. We did make a couple of signings, and let's start with one here. We did sign Brody King, who was a free agent. Of course, he'd been working different places, New Japan Strong, ROH, all that stuff. We did sign him to a deal and a developmental deal, so we didn't bring him straight to the main roster. So he's now in the loop there on NXT. He's on the roster. We made also another signing. I'm pretty sure there's only two we've made for NXT. You guys know where things stand with our women's division. Well, we signed who is in real life the NWA Women's Champion, but we signed Camille to join NXT and to see if maybe we can, continue to develop her because, as you can tell, she's got really good star quality. She's got just really good ratings. I mean, she is sort of the total package from a women's division standpoint. So she was someone we had on our radar. We wanted to make sure we got her on the roster, so she's also added to the mix. So those two in particular, I think, should we have some call-ups we need to make for the main roster, I like having those two in developmental now, even though hopefully Triple H is not going to pin Brody King in 2 minutes or anything, and hopefully Camille gets a good run here because I think those are two nice signings for NXT, and we'll continue to talk about any signings we make for developmental. We want to be sure to continue to, kind of filter in and out different people, knowing that we're probably going to have to make some call-ups on the main roster, so that's where things stand right now with NXT. So that's that's where we are with those particular storylines and everything going on. As you can tell, the Triple H one is something that really caught my eye, and we wanted to get into that before we jumped into Raw. So it will probably be pretty interesting to see what comes out of this. Triple H, I don't know what the roster, the morale, anything looks like right now in NXT, but If Triple H becomes the NXT champion on the next episode, and you won't be surprised because clearly he has decided to come back for one more run, and he is doing it in a very aggressive way to be able to pretty much take over the NXT brand. So I'm not saying we're gonna have to fire Triple H, but my goodness, if we have to fire Triple H, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I don't see that happening. Though. I don't think we even have that ability. Vince is not gonna allow that. I don't think Stephanie will either. So Triple H running wild in NXT. But let's jump in to Raw. A couple of matches on the pre-show to start things off here, and it is Akira Tozawa and Dominic Mysterio getting the win over Drew Gulak and Shane Thorne. Of course, as we talked about during the draft, we didn't really have any plans for Slapjack being used as one of our actual characters, so we went back to Shane Thorne for this one. But he and Drew Gulak unsuccessful in their match against Akira Tozawa and Dominic Mysterio. Rey Mysterio doing some good work at ringside. That's always a plus. Gets a 45. Again, not really too worried about the actual segment ratings for these particular pre-show matches. We do have something to take care of here. Looks like, yeah, Shane Thorne, we were changing his gimmick because he was, still using the gimmick that he had from Retribution. So we're changing it to emotionless. Let's see how that goes. And it goes poorly. So not ideal for Shane Thorne, who has just not done well with the gimmicks as of late. If we look at Retribution and now using this emotionless gimmick, but perhaps that will get better over time. But for now, Mysterio, Tozawa get the win here in the pre-show. And the other pre-show match, we have John Morrison defeating Mansoor at 7:18 using the Starship Pain. Morrison with a nice performance here. Of course, the thing with Morrison, Miz is still out with the ACL injury. We don't really know when he's going to be back. So for now, we've got Morrison kind of in a holding pattern a bit. We will have some things for him to do here in the near future, but right now he's in a bit of a holding pattern. So gets the win over Mansoor. Maybe helps Mansoor continue to improve his skills. But a nice little pre-show match here. Now, to the main card. And we start off with a really, really hot segment here. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan. As you can see, we've got this. It is basically AJ Styles taunting Daniel Bryan, head of the King of the Ring here in a couple of weeks. And these two, of course, have qualified along with Cesaro. And who else has qualified from? I always forget Ricochet. Cesaro, Ricochet are the other two that have qualified. But this is a really nice opening segment. We pretty much, everyone performed well here aside from the commentary who just could not keep up with this fantastic start. So we have these two basically just, AJ Styles taunting Daniel Bryan, Styles saying he's going to be the King of the Ring. Meanwhile, Daniel Bryan continue to promise that he will be the one that actually wins the King of the Ring. So a very strong start to this, and of course does a really good job advancing our storyline, giving that some heat as well for the 2021 King of the Ring, which not that far away. And after this show, we will actually look at the bracket to see where things stand with that. So a great start to this particular Raw. And we get a follow-up match here with the Street Profits continuing to put themselves in nice form heading into the big triple threat tag team match for the undisputed WWE tag titles and King of the Ring. It'll be the Street Profits, the Usos, and New Day. They get the victory here. The Profits do with the win over Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. So Angelo Dawkins not on his game here. Get tag team specialist bonus. So Gable and Benjamin, that's nice here. We don't really have a lot for those two to do right now. So we may wind up using them a little bit more in a tag team role. But they are useful in that, they can put on good matches in terms of their technical masterpiece and such that they have. But there's not a whole lot else for them to do now. But as we know, because we're doing a brand split, there's always going to be something for these guys to do, but just not a whole lot for Gable and Benjamin to do now. But the Street Profits get the win, build a little more momentum as they head into that big match here at King of the Ring for the undisputed tag team titles. And then we get a video highlighting Cesaro. We want to really pump Cesaro up heading into King of the Ring. So it highlights all of his technical feats and everything like that. So a 62 for that. Not anything else of note. We just want to keep Cesaro in the front of minds of fans because he is certainly one of those 8 that will be competing at the King of the Ring. And that next match we get, actually pretty well. I mean, a 60 is not high, but I mean it's not bad. Bayley gets the win over Mandy Rose using the Bayley to belly suplex. This continues sort of what we've seen in the first couple episodes of Raw. Bayley has already picked up 2 wins now. Sasha Banks picked up a win last week, and we know what their intentions are with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Basically saying that they were taunting Rhea Ripley on last week's Raw. Rhea Ripley, our current women's champion. So Bayley continues the confidence with another victory, beating Mandy Rose here. And it looks like Bayley and Sasha have all the confidence in the world, except... Oh, hold on. We have something else. I had a big tease ready, and we have to address something. Let's see. Oh, okay, we forgot about the gimmick change here. Mandy Rose is going to change from Goddess to Perfect Body. Let's see how that goes. Very good. So that's a plus here. So Mandy Rose, a nice gimmick change. That helps. So back to the teaser. Bayley and Sasha Banks have all the confidence in the world, except that Stone Cold Steve Austin, our Raw general manager, which was announced last week, he tells Bayley and Sasha that, they have the confidence, but they're going to get to prove it at King of the Ring because they will team up to take on Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan in a tag team match at King of the Ring. And that doesn't necessarily make Bayley and Sasha Banks too happy because their intentions were to try to actually get the women's title from Rhea Ripley, but Austin said they got to prove themselves first. And so they will have a tag team match, King of the Ring. So this will be one of the few non-King of the Ring tournament matches we'll have at that particular show. But this is what we should really be excited about because this did a great job advancing the storyline, gets a 75, and really everyone here with just an excellent job with Austin, with Bayley and Sasha. I think that's a pretty unique pairing here, given we know Bayley's charisma and Sasha Banks, of course, as well. Pairing them with Austin in a segment, I thought that was kind of fun. As I put this together, I was like, that's something where if we actually saw this in real life, like I'd love it because I feel like those 3 personalities together would be pretty fun, especially with Bayley kind of in that instigator role. So this is really good here. I'm very happy with this to get a 75, and we add another match here with Bayley and Sasha Banks taking on Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan at King of the Ring. Keep the momentum going here. Big E, 71 here. Big E doesn't need a script. Continues to, we saw some highlight videos with him. We've seen him in action. He cuts a promo here saying that his journey continues towards becoming the WWE champion. And Big E is always very charismatic. And so he continues his quest to finally win that big championship in WWE. And he will not stop until he does. And that gets us a match with Big E getting another win with a 66 here. Not bad at all. And looks like we have some good chemistry between these two with Big E and Robert Roode. So a nice performance for Big E in the match with a 67 there performance-wise. So another victory for Big E. We continue to pump him up, and we will see where that heads for Big E. But lots of momentum for the New Day member right now, and a pretty solid match here against Robert Roode. And again, we have a chemistry note, so we can go back to this match if we really need it at some point in the future. And Dolph Ziggler is back. If you remember last week, or really the couple weeks leading up to the match, with Dolph Ziggler losing in the King of the Ring qualifier to Ricochet, Ziggler just all he talked about was planning this victory celebration for King of the Ring. He didn't even know who his opponent was. He wasn't worried about Ricochet. He had no other thoughts other than getting to King of the Ring and winning the whole thing. And what do you know? He loses in an upset to Ricochet. And basically, this was just a full-on rant from Dolph here. Gets to 66. He was not happy, absolutely furious. He demands that he get another match with Ricochet. Ricochet walks up, goes past him. We got a match set up. Dolph Ziggler and Ricochet in a rematch. It's not for the King of the Ring qualifier, but Ziggler was so pissed off that he had to have another match, and it appears it is set. So let's see how it turns out for Dolph this time around. So 59, I'm pretty disappointed. I would have liked this to be much better, but yeah, I really am. Like I thought this would be a little bit higher, but probably just because Ricochet's not as over. I think at this point that may have something to do with it. But Ricochet wins again, and that's not going to make Dolph Ziggler happy. So a very We don't like to do a ton of rematches. I think you'll see that as, in terms of how I like to book it. I know that's kind of one of the common things in like real WWE is people talk about all the rematches and such that you get, the same people working together 4 or 5 times in a month or two. I don't like to have too many of those, but I think this sort of served the purpose to where, Ziggler's kind of this arrogant heel. We changed his gimmick to that, and he loses the match unexpectedly. He's just furious. He wants another match, and what do you know? He loses again. So I think it's a short term sort of storyline, but it helps Ricochet get another win and add another victory to his total as he gets ready for King of the Ring as well. So I thought this was fine. I would have loved this to be a higher rating, but I thought it was fine to kind of put these two together, have this sort of mini feud, I guess you will, with Dolph just being very angry about losing his spot in King of the Ring. Doesn't get any better here because he loses again in a pretty competitive match at around 14 minutes. So, and then we get an interview with Sheamus. Corey Graves talks to Sheamus, and Sheamus basically says the one key thing. Only 59 would like this to be better, but Sheamus taunting Kevin Owens and says he guarantees that there is no way that Kevin Owens will walk out with the United States Championship, which of course that is our main event for this show. Kevin Owens versus Sheamus for the United States title. And Sheamus guarantees that Owens will not walk out with the championship. So Sheamus getting fired up for his big U.S. title defense a little bit later on. A 62 here for this one. Bobby Lashley, our champion. Basically a nice highlight video for Bobby Lashley and all the chaos he's caused as our WWE champ. Of course, if you note, one of the recent episodes that we had here on the series, Lashley announced his retirement. We've got an update on that coming soon. Of course, you are able to try to talk them out of retirement. I will let you guys know whether that was a success or not, but you'll find that out in one of the coming videos. But Bobby Lashley, we're not using that as of right now in terms of a storyline or anything. We just continue on here. Bobby Lashley hyping himself up and showing off all the impressive feats that he can do as he awaits his next challenger for the WWE Championship. Wow, so this is easily our best segments I think we've had, maybe. We may have had one like in one of the previous Raws or SmackDown, but I don't remember. This is pretty nice, though. 85 here from Edge. We continue the storyline with the what is Randy Orton up to? If you know, you kind of look back at the previous videos, what we've had going on here. Randy Orton has done some mysterious things, circling the ring after Edge's match, telling Edge to do the right thing. A lot of mystery involved, and this is Edge cutting a backstage promo, which he just completely just delivered without question here. Edge basically saying that he does not want to talk anything about Randy Orton. He has nothing to say right now, and that's that. It was a very short promo. Edge didn't have a lot to say at all. He just said he doesn't have anything really to talk about when it comes to Randy Orton. He has a match to prepare for, but a tremendous job here from Edge. Speaking of that match, Edge and Angel Garza deliver a pretty solid match here, 72, and here we go. Great chemistry. I love that because Garza is someone that certainly has a lot of star potential. So Angel Garza, we do have plans for him, but for now, he loses this match to Edge. But a really good performance here. Even though, Edge seemed off his game and still had an 84 in his in-ring performance, that is a positive. And so he still came out looking good. Great chemistry, all this stuff. So extremely pleased with this. And again, knowing that Angel Garza has a lot of star quality, he's someone that we do have plans for in the future. But it's also nice to know that we have great chemistry between these two. So Edge off the back of a hot promo and also benefiting from being the flavor of the month. Has an excellent match here against Angel Garza. So Edge gets the victory, has no interest in discussing the situation with Randy Orton right now. But someone does have interest in discussing Randy Orton, and that is Stone Cold Steve Austin, who announces that in another hot segment here that we'll have Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. That's our main event on next week's edition of Raw. And very interesting here because, as we said, Edge does not want anything to do with Orton. Orton, nowhere to be seen in this episode, but he will be in action next week in the main event of Raw. And Rey Mysterio, look at this. He invented a new catchphrase that will boost his ability on the microphone as he now has a go-to line. And, of course, Orton, great job improvising. But Rey Mysterio, a new catchphrase. So this was a complete success when you look at this segment. So you had Austin basically bringing these two in and announcing that they will square off next week. So this was sort of a pre-recorded video, even though Orton's not here at this particular Raw. So this was put together. Austin announces Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, these two. This was, more of your formal GM announcement versus people just running into each other backstage and all that. It was basically Austin putting together, signing the contract, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio. That is our main event for next week. So it should be a fun one there, but a really entertaining segment here to get an 81. And Kevin Owens, he is ready. 76 and more green. We love this green. Kevin Owens' quest for the gold storyline does continue because he cuts his promo. This is Owens. He's ready for his championship match. It is coming up next. And as we've said, he explained why he didn't want to be in the King of the Ring. He was giving up that opportunity to win back the United States Championship yet again. And this is his ultimate goal. And so that is what he's trying to do, is to win back this championship, because for him, he sees the United States Championship as one next step towards getting the WWE title. He wants all the gold. And Kevin Owens here with a terrific promo before we get to the match. And let's see if this match delivers, and let's see if Kevin Owens is able to claim the United States title. So the match definitely delivers. The 71, we'll take that. We continue the storyline, but as you can see, Kevin Owens comes up short, but he doesn't lose. This one goes to a 20-minute time limit draw. We really wanted this to be pushed as a fantastic match between these two. We booked it kind of as a slow build. I'm trying to see what we had at the road agent notes. Yeah, so we used it as sort of a slow build, pace themselves. We wanted to be called in the ring. I feel like these two were good enough. There was no need to script this. And we used the time limit draw because obviously this is going to further the storyline that we have in mind here. But this one really, I think, set up well. I like the fact that, we did sort of set it up as sort of that thing. And I think we just used it. It's one of those, the road agent notes where you could just kind of build up to that big finish. That's what we used with that. But this was a success, I think, because we wanted to, we didn't want to do anything right now in terms of having the definitive finish, but I didn't want this to be one of those where you get a DQ or count out or something, crazy like that. I wanted to make sure this was focused on the wrestling, and we got that here, a 20-minute time limit for the championship. And Sheamus retains, but he's not able to beat Kevin Owens in this. And so we will see what the next step is for both of these. But Kevin Owens comes up short. He doesn't lose, but he doesn't get the United States title. So really a fine finish to this particular episode of Raw. And I am also pretty excited about where this storyline is headed with Kevin Owens trying to claim the United States title. So I thought the finish of this Raw was really good. We get a 74 overall. If you're just watching this for the first time, the reason we're losing popularity is that we are, 77, 76 overall, I think, in the world. We've already been knocked down to medium size. We're in the cooling off period, all that stuff. So we really can't gain anything anyways over the next, whatever it is. I can't remember how long it was. So it's fine, but we're building up some really, I think, intriguing storylines. We've got a lot of exciting stuff in the works. And so at least we're starting to get on the right track here. A lot more green than we had in those first couple shows. And even, of course, Edge with a fantastic segment there, continuing to further the stuff with Randy Orton. And then, of course, that opening segment that we had with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. So a success, I would think, for this episode of Raw. Lots of, storyline advancement, a lot of setup for things to come. There's your more intrigue and kind of a teaser for what's coming up, but only one more episode of Raw before King of the Ring, so we will see how things develop on that. Of course, we still got a couple SmackDowns, but this is sort of, we're moving forward. The foot is on the gas, and we are heading into the road to King of the Ring, and this was a pretty fun edition of Raw. Very happy with how this one turned out, and before we wrap up this episode, let's look at our King of the Ring 2021 bracket. So here is our setup for the King of the Ring quarterfinals, which will all take place at our King of the Ring pay-per-view June week 4. So we got a couple more shows before we get to King of the Ring, but this is the bracket. Seth Rollins, representing SmackDown, takes on Ricochet. Daniel Bryan representing Raw takes on Sami Zayn from SmackDown. Shinsuke Nakamura from SmackDown takes on AJ Styles from Raw. And then Mustafa Ali from SmackDown takes on Cesaro from Raw. So that is the setup. That's exactly how the bracket looks. So this is how, so for example, winner of this one will face this one in the semis and so forth. This is the top of the bracket. This is the bottom of the bracket. So that is the setup for how things are going to go at King of the Ring, and some very, I think, good matches we could have here. I mean, you got Nakamura and Styles in the first. I mean, you got Bryan, Zayn, Rollins, Ricochet. Like, I think all of these first round matches could be fantastic. And really, when you think about it, no matter who wins these matches, you're going to have some great matches elsewhere too. So, really excited about the King of the Ring. I think it's going to be a great tournament. And I think you guys are going to love it. Like, I really hope that it turns out well. Because we've got some exciting things we're building in storyline wise from this King of the Ring, from these particular participants, and how things are going to unfold. And I hope it goes according to plan. Because as we know, with Bobby Lashley and other stuff, not always the case in this game. But that's what makes it fun. So that's the King of the Ring bracket. You see where things stand. We have pulled up here just kind of our some of our contract stuff we were looking at. So Rhea Ripley, Edge, two of the ones in particular, coming up sooner rather than later. So we'll see what we can do on that. But as of right now, we got a lot of money. We don't have a lot of momentum because of the fall to medium. But we do have King of the Ring coming up in just 12 days. And that will be a very big show to kind of springboard all of these storylines we've been working on and to continue to propel them forward heading into what will be our next event after that, which will be a SmackDown-only pay-per-view with Great American Bash. So there was Raw. There's the King of the Ring bracket. And next up will be SmackDown as, again, only a couple shows away from King of the Ring. And we'll see how things continue to progress on SmackDown. As always, be sure to subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Again, appreciate the great feedback. You guys seem to be enjoying these, and we will continue to roll right along here on the WWE 2021 Save. And coming up next will be another edition of SmackDown.